Hello there YouTube, and welcome to the first Skyrim survival mode build on my channel, The Survivor. This orc is designed to easily take on survival mode in what I currently feel is the best way possible. All of this was made on legendary difficulty survival mode, however it works perfectly well on any difficulty and doesn't require survival mode for it to work, so don't let that limit you. If you do want to see more survival mode builds though, then let me know in the comments. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this video if you want more Skyrim builds in the future. The Survivor grew up as part of a nomadic tribe of orcs. He spent his younger years travelling around Hammerfell and Cyrodiil. Others would speak about how life on the road was hard, but for the young orc it was simply his way of life, and he knew no other way of existing. His mother was a talented blacksmith, and would sell weapons and armour along the road in order to pay for all they needed. This helped them to live a relatively comfortable life, despite never having a place to call home. They travelled as light as they could, and never stayed in one place for too long. That was until his father fell ill. None of their group were talented healers, and couldn't work out what was wrong with the orc. They were able to get him to a local village and find a healer to look at him, but the diagnosis wasn't reassuring. The group was told that the orc would die if he wasn't given medicine every day for the following weeks. The majority of the group felt that they couldn't stay and help, but the young orc and his mother stayed in the village to see his father back to health. Word spread quickly of the blacksmith that was in town, and the survivor's mother crafted whatever she could for the village in order to pay for her husband's medical needs. The sudden presence of orc-forged steel brought the attention of a group of bandits to the village, and they demanded weapons be made for them, or else everyone would die. The survivor's mother denied them their request and cut down the bandit in front of her, causing the others to flee. At first the survivor thought that this would be the end of things, but when night fell he witnessed a large group of bandits gathering just south of the village. Instead of running and warning anyone, he hid, cowering in fear as the bandits slowly advanced on the unaware settlement. The orc watched silently as the bright lights of fire began appearing throughout the village, and the sound of clashing metal rang out. The battle didn't last long, and the survivor could clearly see that the bandits had won, no doubt having slain nearly all the inhabitants they had come across. Not wanting to suffer the same fate, the young orc fled away from the scene, and would never speak of that night's events to another. He walked the lands of Tamriel on his own for some time, until he eventually found his way to the border of Skyrim. Once there he is caught up in the ambush of Ulfric's Stormcloak, and carted away to Helgen. Once free of his bonds, the orc will try his best to survive in the harsh lands of Skyrim. He has seen the fall of strong warriors in the past, so will instead focus on learning about the mystical arts, and staying out of sight of anyone or anything that could kill him. The main skills of this build are archery, sneak, and conjuration. With the archery skill, what you'll want to focus on is damage output and stopping power. Power Shot is going to often stagger your opponents, which is a great way to control groups of enemies, and Quick Shot will speed up your draw speed, allowing you to up your DPS and stagger more enemies. In the Sneak skill tree, I only put a single rank into Stealth, as the following ranks give diminishing results, however the first is a huge boost to staying hidden. In addition, it's critical to get the Deadly Aim perk as early as you can in order to do triple damage with bow sneak attacks. In Conjuration, there's two trees you will likely want to go down. Going up to Adept Conjuration is going to cut your magicka drain in half, and let you cast your main spell far easier. Additionally, you're going to definitely want to get Mystic Binding and Soul Stealer, and possibly even Oblivion Binding. Mystic Binding gives you a 6-point base damage increase to your weapon, and Soul Stealer adds on the Soul Trap effect to your weapon too, which can help potentially let you branch out into enchanting later on in the game. The additional skills of the build are Illusion, Light Armour, and Alchemy. In the Illusion skill tree, the most important perk to try and get your hands on is Quiet Casting. This will prevent you from getting discovered whenever you cast a spell or use a shout, helping no end with your stealth capabilities. In addition, Apprentice Illusion will halve the cost of Muffle, ensuring you can cast it with ease, and not have enemies hear your footsteps. We use Light Armour with this build, and by investing in the skill tree, we can boost our armour rating, but more importantly, once it hits 50 you can take the Unhindered perk, which removes the weight value of the armour you wear, and will in turn improve your movement speed. Alchemy was the only crafting skill I invested any perks into, and for this build I only spent a single perk on Alchemist. More than anything, this skill is useful for just making some fast cash. With the reduced carry capacity of survival mode, you won't want to be picking up too much stuff just to sell, so making profit potions works as a great alternative to kickstart your cash flow. In survival mode there is no fast travel, so I don't recommend a single standing stone, but instead just going with whatever works best that you come across. I'd advise starting off by getting the Thief Stone, but if you come across them, then the Shadow Stone, Serpent Stone and Lord Stone are all good choices. As for powers, playing as an orc means we have access to Berserker Rage, letting us take half damage and do double damage for 60 seconds once a day. I'd argue that this is one of the strongest powers in the entire game, and will save your skin if you ever end up in outright combat, or just need to dish out more damage. I didn't use any other powers, but, as always, shouts can add an element of versatility to the build, allowing you to move faster, knock enemies down, and detect where living creatures are. The main weapon for this build is the Bound Bow. This is a very strong weapon that doesn't rely on smithing or enchanting to reach its full potential. Not having to always carry a bow with you is a great advantage on survival. However, when you cast the Bound Bow, you will use up 10 of your carry weight, as each of the bound arrows counts as having a weight of 0.1, so make sure you have the room free before casting. Although this was a small unexpected drawback, I still found it saved on weight compared to a traditional bow. As an additional weapon, I also carried with me a Staff of Storm Atronach. This was a great weapon for causing distractions, running interference, and just generally making sure that I wasn't the one being targeted. Once you get the Soul Stealer perk, recharging this staff also becomes ludicrously easy, and if you're able to get your hands on the Black Star too, you shouldn't ever need to worry about running out of charge. Some of you are probably wondering why I went with a Summoning Staff on a build that already has Conjuration as a main skill. There are a few bonuses to staves over straight up casting, but the main two are the additional range and it not consuming your magicka. If you're tired in survival mode, then your magicka pool will start reducing, and you always want to be able to cast your Bound Bow, so that should be the priority on what you spend magicka on. The armour for this build is Fur Armour, the Ancient Shrouded Cowl, Boots of the Old Gods, and Gauntlets of the Old Gods. For the Fur Armour, you will want a variant that offers the highest warmth rating, in order to ensure you can travel in the cold north without too much worry. The Ancient Shrouded Cowl will give a 35% boost to the damage of a Bound Bow. Add on the Gauntlets of the Old Gods, which offer a 20% increase to the bow, and we have a total of a 55% damage increase. The Boots of the Old Gods are the fourth piece of our set, and will improve sneaking by 20%, helping us to remain hidden. This set doesn't offer the highest resistances, but fits well aesthetically, and conveys a warmth rating of over 100 to the build. To go along with this armour, we also have the Necromancer's Amulet and a ring of your choice. The disadvantages of the Necromancer Amulet hold no real downside in survival mode, where health already doesn't regenerate, so essentially this is just an amulet which boosts magicka by 50 and reduces the cost of conjuration spells by 25%. This will help out no end with casting the Bound Bow, and the boost to magicka helps to counter the inevitable drain that will happen to your magicka. As for the ring, try to keep an eye out for any that improve either sneaking or bow damage, as both of these will be incredibly helpful for complementing the playstyle of the build. Obviously, you will need to help out the Forsworn in Markarth and join the Dark Brotherhood in order to get the equipment you need for the build. As for other factions though, there aren't any you necessarily need to join, as the survivor will try and keep to himself, and joining communities isn't something that appeals to him. That being said, I'm sure that a fair few of you already have factions in mind to join, and as long as you can justify it, feel free to do so. You'll also not want to travel around with any followers. Letting others get close to you is not something you'll want to do as a survivor, and I personally would even advise against pet followers. Practically, this does make stealth much easier for you, as you won't have any friendlies stumbling over traps and alerting enemies to your presence. This character is a Stealth Archer. At this point, I assume literally everyone has played as a Stealth Archer in Skyrim at some time or another, so I won't go in depth as to how to play this style of character. Instead, I'll give a few survival mode specific tips for anyone who is taking this challenge on. To start off, always make sure you've got enough food on you to restore at least a couple of thousand points of hunger. If you're wondering what the best food to carry around is, then check out my survival food guide. Additionally, if you want to stay warm, you'll ideally want some hot food, which will require fire sorts to create, but you can also carry around torches, which at the very least will stop you freezing to death. As some very fast additional notes, horses are good, but you can't use the bound bow on them. Try to stay close to anywhere with beds, because getting overtired will eventually kill you if you're not careful. And if you're heading north, make sure you are wrapped up very warm and have lots of hot stuff with you. Thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, then give the video a like, and if you want more builds in the future, make sure you share this video to get as many people watching as possible. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and those of you who are subscribed can go one step further and become part of a notification squad, letting you see videos before anyone else.